Hello, my Biblio darlings, and welcome to Bibliothesia. In case we haven't met before, my name's Mally, and the story that we're going to be reading today is called Sweetgrass. But before we do that, let's hear some jokes and help our bodies to relax. Are you ready? There's some fun jokes. How did the lobster cross the ocean? It moved from tide to tide as opposed to side to side. Okay. Here's the next one. Did you hear about the guy who thought he was an electric eel? Oh. It was shocking. Oh. And here's another one. Where do dolphins come from? Finland. Because they have a fin. And here's the next one. Why do sharks swim in salt water? Because pepper makes them sneeze, as opposed to pepper water. And here's the next one. What do you call photos of a piranha? Toothpicks. Oh, because they have teeth. Oh, I get it. Okay. The lobster's moving from tide to tide. Oh, so great. And pepper water. Okay. Let's get to reading Sweetgrass. Wow, take a look at the cover. It's gorgeous. There's a basket and there's some long grass. And it looks like there's a sage braid or a sweetgrass braid. Maybe sweetgrass is sage. I don't know. And then there's a shell where people get brushed off with this beautiful energy. So this story is written by Theresa, Meuse, I think, and the art is by Jessica Jerome. Sweetgrass, and look at the inside cover. Wow, it's so neat. It's a beautiful, so it's a sweetgrass that has been braided, I think, and on one side it's brown twine or brown string that's holding it together, and on the other it's green. And this says the dedication. To Ethan, the junior high school student who helped me recover my manuscript during a moment of panic, ever so grateful, and dedicated to my wife, Diane Rowe, and our boys, Elijah and Colin. It was early July, and Matthew's auntie was taking him and his cousin, Warren, sweetgrass picking. For the last 6 years, every year since turning 5, Matthew has gone on trips to pick sweetgrass with different members of his family. But this would be Warren's first time. Before leaving, Auntie made sure the boys had proper clothing and footwear. She suggested long-sleeved shirts, pants, rubber boots, or old sneakers and hats. "Why do we have to dress like this, Auntie?" asked Warren. Auntie explained, "We will be picking sweetgrass, where other types of grasses grow, and they can make your skin itchy. Wearing long sleeves can prevent that. The ground where the sweetgrass grows can be soggy in spots and even muddy, so wearing old footwear or rubber boots will keep your feet dry. Also, there aren't any trees or bushes to give us shade while we pick the sweetgrass. That's why I suggest you wear a hat." Once they were properly dressed and ready to go, Auntie asked, "Did you remember your sacred medicines to make an offering?" Matthew and Warren nodded. They knew that when a person takes something from Mother Earth, like sweetgrass, they should offer something back as a sign of being thankful. Today, they would leave some sacred medicines on the ground to thank Mother Earth for providing the sweetgrass, and to thank the sweetgrass for giving of itself for them to pick. The boys placed their medicine pouches, which held their sacred medicines, around their necks. The pouches were filled with cedar, sage, ceremonial tobacco, and even sweetgrass that had been picked the year before. Indigenous people consider these the 4 main sacred medicines used most often in times of offering. Auntie was taught to use these 4 medicines, but she knew it was up to each person, their own individual teachings, to choose which medicines to use. Some people just like to offer ceremonial tobacco. Just as long as the medicines are used in a good way and given with a kind heart. This is the most important teaching, she told the boys. On the drive, Auntie explained they were heading to the marshland near the water, not far from where they lived. They would have to walk for a bit to where the sweetgrass grew. In our area, the best sweetgrass is found in the wild, where the salt water meets fresh water, said Auntie. There's another type that can be planted in a garden and doesn't need as much water as the wild sweetgrass, she added. Less than an hour later, Auntie parked the truck near the ocean shoreline. Auntie grabbed her basket and told the boys to follow her. They carefully went down a small hill and walked along a narrow path. As they walked, Matthew and Warren admired the waves splashing along the beach and listened to the seagulls squawking overhead. Matthew was excited about looking for shells and stones along the beach. Soon they came upon an area of grass that stood as tall as them. Warren was amazed at the amount of grass and couldn't wait to start picking. There sure is a lot of sweetgrass, Auntie, Warren said. Auntie and Matthew smiled. No, Warren, that isn't the sweetgrass, replied Auntie. The sweetgrass grows below this tall grass. We must be careful where we walk so we don't destroy more than we pick. The boys followed Auntie into the tall grass, and she showed them where to start picking. Warren noticed that the sweetgrass was shorter than the other grass, and the root area was purplish in color. The sweetgrass was also smooth, not sticky and sharp like the other grasses. Auntie explained that one way to identify sweetgrass is by how easy it is pulled from the ground. The other grasses take some effort. We try not to take more than we need so there will be some to pick next year, she said. Some people even like to take some of the roots home and try to grow it in their gardens. Auntie smiled and said, Planting it at home is not always successful, though. That is why we come every year to pick the wild sweetgrass. Matthew helped Warren find spots to pick sweetgrass. Sometimes other grasses and weeds get picked along the sweetgrass, but that's okay, he told his cousin. They will get removed during cleaning time. Warren had thought picking the sweetgrass was all he had to do, and wondered what cleaning time meant. When they each had picked a handful of sweetgrass, Auntie showed the boys how to tie a regular piece of grass around the bundle to keep it together before picking any more. While Matthew picked, he thought of how the sweetgrass would decorate ash baskets, and how it would be braided and dried to be used during traditional ceremonies, like smudging. He thought of how he would give some to the elders who weren't able to come pick their own. When they each had 2 handfuls, they decided that was enough. Auntie reminded Matthew and Warren that it was important not to take more than they needed, so the sweetgrass would continue to grow for future generations. They placed their bundles into Auntie's basket and were happy to see how much they had collected. Then Auntie had the boys take out their sacred medicines and sprinkle them about Mother Earth. As they sprinkled, they silently said thank you to creation for providing the sweetgrass. Matthew and Warren also gave some sacred medicines to Auntie as a way to thank her for bringing them sweetgrass picking. Auntie hugged them both and offered her gift to Mother Earth too. On the drive home, Auntie told the boys the next step was to clean their sweetgrass. It is so relaxing to sit and clean sweetgrass. It gives a person the chance to enjoy the quietness or listen to each other share stories, she said. The boys smiled, and Warren decided he was looking forward to cleaning the sweetgrass. When they arrived home, they sat around an outdoor fire, and Auntie gave them something cold to drink. She sat in her favorite chair and showed Warren how to clean the sweetgrass. She picked a small bunch from a bundle and began pulling out the other types of grasses and the weeds that had been picked along with the sweetgrass. Using her fingers, she then showed him how to snap off the sweetgrass's knobby ends. Matthew showed Warren how one piece of sweetgrass can actually be made into 3 pieces by sliding a finger down the blade, separating it into 3 strands. Auntie had them place their clean pieces of sweetgrass in a neat pile. Warren smiled when he realized cleaning the sweetgrass didn't mean washing it with water. Next, Auntie showed Warren How to make a sweetgrass braid. Many people like to use 3 strands to weave into a braid, Auntie said, but I'd like to show you boys the way I was taught. She took a bundle of sweetgrass and tied one end of it with red yarn. She separated the bundle into 2 strands, crossing a handful from the back of one strand to the top of the other. Instead of 3 strands, Auntie's method used only 2. When she reached the bottom, she twisted the 2 ends together into a knot. This kept the sweetgrass braid from falling apart. It took a few tries for Warren to learn how to make the 2-strand braid, and Matthew helped him. Matthew ended up making 2 braids and kept some sweetgrass loose so the elders could use it to decorate their ash baskets or burn in an abalone shell for ceremony. Warren made 4 braids and was going to share 3 of them with his family. Auntie made 2 braids and kept the rest to share with others. Auntie had the boys place all the scrap pieces of other grasses and weeds into the fire. When they finished, they gave Auntie a hug and thanked her for taking them sweetgrass picking. When Warren arrived home, he hung a braid of sweetgrass above his bed so he could smell it every time he entered his room. It would always remind him of his first trip sweetgrass picking. He looked forward to going again next year. What did you think about this? What did you think of it? That is Sweetgrass, the story. Now, with that, and as a way of giving our thanks for the story, let's do a deep breathing exercise. And how it goes is we inhale for 4, hold the breath for 4, and exhale out for 8. When you're ready, inhale deeply for 1, 2, 3, 4. And now hold the breath for 1. And now exhale out for 8, like you're blowing out wind. Oh, well, I'm hoping you're feeling more relaxed. And thank you for joining in today's story of Sweetgrass. And if it works for you, please like and subscribe. Well, until next time, take good care, my Biblio darlings. Bye.